Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Card Dad. We've got Brian Dwyer is back on the show. Brian, how are we doing? We've got the fall auction. It is December. I can't believe it is the end of 2025.
It is wild that we were all just together in Rosemont. Feels like yesterday, but here we are. Things are going great. We got a good auction to cap off the year.
I know it feels like it'll be, a blink of an eye and we'll be back at the National again, and you guys, it's crazy how every time we do these shows, they never disappoint. I don't know how the heck you guys find all the inventory that you find, but you must have just great relationships with consigners because they just keep coming back. I mean, there's never a disappointing REA auction. That's one thing I've noticed.
I'm happy to hear that because that's certainly something that we strive for. And yeah, I mean, to your point, like we can't just go down to Walmart and pick 3,000 items off the shelves for an auction. So it's a lot of hard work, a lot of years building these auctions, sometimes cultivating the relationships. But yeah, we've got a good thing going, thankfully.
Very cool. All right. Well, we've got a couple of things working tonight. So we also have the Huggins and Scott auction that is ending in 2 nights. So that's on Thursday night. So we wanted to make sure to cover a couple of those items, a few of those items tonight as well. So we'll talk about those. And then the regular REA auction ends on Sunday evening. Is that correct?
Yeah. Sunday evening, December 7th. And for anybody that might be watching for the first time or not be familiar with REA, we acquired Huggins and Scott back in 2023. So there is a method to the madness in promoting another auction here tonight. But we've been running them as a sister company to REA for the last 2 years, and it's been working out really well.
Can you explain for first timers to REA what to expect? So when these auctions are ending at, is it 9 p.m. or something, kind of when they start, and then how does it go from there? How does extended bidding work and that sort of a thing? Do you already have to have bid on the items, before Thursday night and then Sunday night?
Yeah, so these auctions in the case of Huggins and Scott are open for 2 weeks. In the case of REA, about 2.5 weeks. And, we've got a 2-week open bidding period where you have to place at least one qualifying bid on any item that you're interested in. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern on the final day, which is Thursday for Huggins and Scott and Sunday for REA, that's when the pool of bidders is shrunk down to only those qualified bidders. So you go from competing against the whole world potentially to competing against 20, 30, 40 different collectors. And we solicit bids throughout the entire auction for 1 hour after that 9 p.m. close. And then at 10 p.m., we do an individual countdown clock on a lot by lot basis. So if your item doesn't receive a bid for 20 minutes, it'll close. The high bid will win. And if it receives a bid in that period of time, the clock will reset until there's no more activity. So it's pretty fun if you're bidding on a bunch of different things to watch the activity throughout the auction, or even if you're not bidding, to follow the pace of the auction. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and fire this thing off. We've got quite a few items to go through, and I want to start off with a card that I definitely want to own at some point. I don't know if I'm ever going to have one in an SGC 9, but here we've got of course, the Hank Aaron rookie card, 1954 tops, high grade SGC 9. Beautiful.
Yeah, this one's really just a stunning example. When it came in, I was struck by the color. I was struck by the registration, the centering. I mean, it's very much dialed in for an example of this card. You don't see them in high grade all that often. I mean, they do exist in both PSA 9 and SGC 9. There's at least one PSA 10 out there. But this one is a very beautiful example, and one that we're happy to have up in the front of the auction.
Yeah, you don't see really much. I mean, yeah, maybe little specks here and there, but I mean, these cards are, it's brutal to try to find, the registration that looks like this. I mean, usually there's fish eyes, there's all sorts of issues, wrinkles. And this one is, man, it's magnificent. And I'm looking at it like basically with a magnifying glass, and it's really hard to see anything on it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and so often you'll see this card is out of registration on the cap or the brim or his chin or his lips or something like that. This one, none of those issues. And the back, I mean, the back is a green back for anybody that's not familiar. So often it chips along the edges. Really, really clean example.
Yeah, unbelievable. Current bid at $90,000 for that one. That is a heck of a card. All right, we're going to shift over to a card. I've covered a bunch of these with you, and I don't remember now, not to say that you haven't had the card, but this one in particular, the 1914, the Cracker Jack, Christy Mathewson. I don't remember covering this one as often with you.
Yeah, you and I probably haven't covered it because it's been a while since we've had one. I mean, we do have them from time to time, but just a great, great card from a tremendous set. Classic pitching pose for Mathewson, obviously one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And, a lot of people that maybe are familiar with the 14 Cracker Jacks and the 15 Cracker Jack set will know this, but many won't. The Mathewson pose in this 1914 set is different than the Mathewson pose in the 1915 set.
Yeah.
Most of the other players are the exact same image. The only way you can tell them apart is from the backs. So this is pretty cool in that it's a totally different example. I don't think this pose is used on any other Mathewson cards that are coming to mind right away. Great color, no real Cracker Jack staining to speak of. Overall decently centered, nice even corner wear. Just a pretty good looking example of a very, very tough card.
Yeah, what is the story again between the 14s and the 15s? Are the 14s more scarce than the 15s?
Yeah, significantly more scarce. The 14s were only available in boxes of Cracker Jacks, so they are oftentimes found in much lower grade, oftentimes severely stained, or at least showing some sort of Cracker Jack caramel staining. The 15s were available in multiple different ways, but you could also buy them as a set direct from the factory. And so you'll see 8s, 9s, 10s of 1915 Cracker Jacks, where that's virtually unheard of for 14s. So condition sensitive, just much more rare. A great, great classic set.
Yeah, unbelievable card. All right, we're going to go to an all-time classic. And again, as you might have guessed, viewership, it is a very high-grade example of the 1956 Topps. The gray back. Now, is there a white back and a gray back for 56 Topps?
There is, yeah. So Mantle's from a series where both exist. This one's a gray back. Love this card for so many reasons. It's a card that I have in my personal collection in a lower grade, but
Yeah,
still,
this is unbelievable in a 9. Good
yeah,
Lord.
just great. Good centering, good color. Again, registration can plague this card sometimes. Print quality can plague this card sometimes. One of the things that sticks out to me about this example is that it's got a very nice natural rough cut on the top and bottom borders. I love that on vintage cards. It's well centered. 56, great year for Mantle, Triple Crown year. Just a great, great card.
Yeah, fantastic. Back looks really good too. I mean, there's really nothing on this card. I guess that's why I got a 9. Yeah, this is a beautiful copy. All right. We're going to stick with vintage baseball. Yes, we do have there's a huge variety of stuff. So stick around because we have football, we have other sports, we have basketball, but we got a signed Babe Ruth 33 Gaudy. This is my favorite of the 33 Gaudys. I know a lot of people like the portraits. I really like the batting stance. And this one is autographed, believe it or not.
Yeah. Pretty wild to think that these cards exist, but I also really like this pose. I think you've got the full Bambino batting pose, and then the addition of the signature just takes it to a whole nother level. I think this is only maybe the third example of this card signed that we've ever sold. There's obviously of the 4 poses, you'll find some of the other ones signed as well, but there's maybe 24 total out there. So
Wow.
this one's dual authenticated. The card's graded. The signature's graded. Signature grades is 7. Really bold, really nice across the front there. Very special card that does not come up all that often. I mean, I'm not going to say it's unique, but it's certainly very rare.
Does he usually sign sincerely, or is that unique that this one is sincerely, or is it normally just Babe Ruth?
So I've seen him both ways. Sometimes he would add the sincerely, sometimes he would add other salutations or notes or dates. As far as on the Gaudy cards, I don't know the breakdown of sincerely's or just his names, but I think the sincerely is a nice touch.
Yeah, Incredible card. I always like kind of, even though that's not really an inscription, it kind of is. It adds something unique to the card that you wouldn't otherwise have. That is really cool.
Get some extra Babe Ruth handwriting.
That's it. That's it. Another popular card for vintage baseball card collectors, and another extremely high grade version of it, the 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan SGC 9.5 with the NBA Silver Diamond sticker. How about that?
Yeah, this is another just
Yeah, it looks perfect.
tremendous example. I mean, the eye appeal sticker here from NBA certainly backs that up, but the centering is dialed in. The corners are nice and strong. The image, oftentimes you'll see print defects, fish eyes on this card. The purple in the Mets logo is spotless.
Oh yeah, it is.
Just a very, very strong example of this iconic rookie card.
Yeah, unbelievable. This is just a card I want to have in like a 3, but I know there's a lot of collectors out there. They want the best of the best type stuff, and this is right up there at the top of the food chain for Nolan Ryan rookie cards. That's awesome. All right, we're going to switch it over to basketball. This card always gets a lot of fanfare. PSA 10s, but we got an SGC 10 of the 86 Fleer Jordan.
Yeah, I mean this is a card that probably doesn't need much explanation or introduction,
Nope.
but we'll talk about it nonetheless. I mean, super condition sensitive. We know the PSA 10s are out there. We know that SGC 10s are out there. Still captures everybody's attention when you see one come up for sale. So centering is very important. Edges very important. Corners very important. Boldness of the colors very important. This one's got it all going on. I personally like the way that it presents in the SGC holder. I think the black background really makes it pop, accentuates a lot of those features. So, historically, we've seen that the SGC 10s sell for maybe a little bit less than the PSA 10. So if you're looking to get into a gem mint example, this might be the ticket.
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, for whatever reason, these SGC 10s, they most likely don't go as high as that PSA 10, but you can get beautiful cards. Their grades are good. SGC is solid. So yeah, this is a great example. I agree. All right, football. Another card that I want to own. We've covered this card before. It is the Bronco Nagurski, going back to 1935 National Chickle SGC 5.5. This one's centered up pretty nicely. This looks good.
Yeah, so centering is definitely the thing that caught my eye on this example. Oftentimes you'll see them off center side to some degree. This auction, we actually have this 5.5. We have a PSA 4. We have a 3. So we have 3 different examples and 3 very different grades. And you'll notice between each of those examples, differences in the print quality, differences in the centering, differences in the corners. This 5.5, best of the trio, in my opinion. Strong centering. Really, the collector that consigned this to us spent years looking for the perfect example. So I think somebody's going to benefit from his pickiness, because this is just a great looking card.
Oh, so he's moving off of this card to get into another copy?
I don't know that he's necessarily getting into another copy, but I know that he spent a long time waiting for the perfect copy to come into his collection.
Oh, okay.
And I think that he did a lot of the legwork for somebody that wants a strong centered example.
Yeah. Beautiful copy. This one popped up and I was like, PJ sent this one over and I was like, interesting choice for this. Like, it's a great card. I love the red background, but I don't know anything about this player. Except I did read the bio, and it looks like he did unfortunately pass away at a young age. So is it people that are looking for the autographs going back for the Brian Piccolo rookie?
Yeah, so you've got rookie card collectors, you've got 69 Topps collectors. He passed away, I think the year after this card was issued. So very short window to get it signed. I cannot personally recall having seen another signed example. I don't know what the PSA Pop report says on it off the top of my head, but not many to go around. And 69 Topps is such a great set, widely collected, and there are people out there that are chasing it in signed version. So this is one of those real key rarities if you're going that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Yeah, set collectors out there, people trying to this might be where someone has one shot at getting this card,
Yeah.
is this auction. So that actually makes a lot of sense. All right. Another card that needs absolutely no introduction, and it is the 76 Tops, the Walter Payton rookie card. Man, I held a PSA 10 going back, I think at this past national. And there's just something about like really crisp copies of this card. Look, I would love to have just a 6 or 7, but the really nice that the 10s of these cards are just unbelievable. I love this card so much.
Yeah, this is a card that is so classic, so iconic, so at the top of the list for so many football collectors. But I've always been struck by its relative overall simplicity.
Yep.
Um, and I love it as a card. I think it's very well done. I think it just captures kind of that young rookie, aura, if you will, of somebody that would go on to be one of the all-time greats. But the thing about this card in particular is that 76 Tops can chip very easily. They're not condition sensitive in the same way we talk about 86 Fleer with colored borders, but they have fragile stock sometimes. And so getting a 10 is very tough. And getting a 10 of the key card in the set, obviously very, very special. SGC's only graded 2 10s all time.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the green and the yellow just pops on this card. On these nice copies like this where you can find them, I mean, these are unbelievable cards. If I was just made of money, these are the types of cards, especially because as we talked about with the SGC 10 compared to the PSA 10, you might be able to get it at a very reasonable price in comparison. And these, you just can't beat these cards, man. They're just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, we're going to go modern. We're going to freak everybody out, and we're going modern football. Tom Brady, 2000 playoff contenders, the rookie gold. I had not seen this card until I saw it on this auction. Round numbers autograph, so it's numbered out of 60. And what's interesting is Brady's on one side, and my boy Mark Bulger, who played for my New Orleans Saints for a time, we let him. He actually had a pretty decent few years. He's on the other side of this card.
Yeah, this was a card that I was not familiar with, to be perfectly honest with
I
you,
wasn't either. Yeah.
until I saw it come in for the auction. And I think it's just, a great testament to kind of the ingenuity of the early 2000s, where there were so many different card designs and so many different variations and parallels that these card companies were producing. And it's such a great concept. I think that if they could redo it, maybe they would put Brady on the front.
That's what I was about to say.
But who knew? Certainly, his draft stock was not as high as we would consider it to be now. But just a great modern card of Brady, and numbered to 60. Not many opportunities to add one of these, and it's graded pretty well overall.
And a reminder that the Saints took Mark Bulger right ahead of Tom Brady. Just another reminder of that miss. Yeah, I think that's hilarious that Mark Bulger is on the front of this card. It just shows you again, like just how he was just so slept on. No one saw Tom Brady coming. Just
Yep.
Unbelievable. Very cool card. Okay. All right. Next up, we have got the Larry Magic rookie card, and this is one again popped out here. It's an SGC 9.5. The PSA 10s of this card go for huge money, and this is such a nice kind of in between for people that don't necessarily want to spend that PSA 10 money. This is a great copy.
Yeah, so I mean, speaking of PSA 10s, anybody that's collecting basketball cards is probably familiar with two just monstrous sales that we've had in the REA marketplace in the last couple months. We sold a PSA 10 example for $600,000.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And then we sold another PSA 10 example that had an NBA diamond certification for $800,000. So it tells you the significant demand for these cards, the premium paid for top end examples. And this 9.5, you're not sacrificing a tremendous amount in the big scheme of things. It's well centered. It's got strong corners. It's the perforations are tight and intact. And again, just like the Peyton and the Jordan before, this has become an iconic rookie card. It's like
Yeah.
a must have if that's the direction you're taking your collection. So a great example, I think, is going to make somebody very happy. And right now, the price point is right to get into it.
Yeah, when I'm looking at this thing close up, it's amazing just how clean the perforated edges here are on this card. Typically when you see this, it's because people, they traded them. They weren't taking amazing care of these cards, and I remember one of my buddies who was a kid when this card came out said they used to just break them off all the time.
Yeah.
You break off the Larry Bird, you break off the Magic Johnson. I mean, that was, so even to have them intact, I'm surprised, frankly, there's as many intact as there are, but just looking at this one, how clean it is, the edges is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful example.
Very cool card. Okay. All right. We're going to go to the GOAT. We have got some exquisite goodness. Michael Jordan, 0607, exquisite collection patches. I believe these it's game used, I would assume, if it's exquisite. Let's take a closer look. A game used trading card with a personal. Okay. Memorability has been certified, has been used in an NBA game. Yeah. Amazing card.
Yeah, so just another great modern example. You've got the game used component, you've got the signature component. These dual cards always attract a lot of attention. And Jordan, again, he needs no introduction, right? Greatest of all time, widely collected. People are looking to get into anything related to Jordan, and some of these cards provide pretty amazing value in the big scheme of things when you look at what prices we've seen for PSA 10 examples of rookie cards and game used memorabilia associated with Jordan and signed rookie cards associated with Jordan. And, you think about where the current bid is on a piece like this. Yes, it's from later in his career, but you're getting some pretty cool elements with it.
Yeah, really clean auto. It got a Beckett 10 auto grade, and I was just taking a look at it. I mean, there's maybe a couple of spots where there's a little bit of streak, but not much at all. I mean, this is a really nice looking MJ auto on card. And I agree with you. Yeah, you've got the game use patch, and you guys have, I think you have a couple of these in the auction. We're going to look at another popular player here in a second. I also like kind of that black and white patch. Usually it's not this, well, I shouldn't say usually, but a lot of times it's not the red and black jersey. It's a different jersey color. So yeah, that's amazing card.
Yeah, and this is a good opportunity to point out to people that are maybe thinking of REA as the vintage baseball people.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, we've got a ton of that, and we've done very well with that over the years, but we get such tremendous diversity in the auctions. We touch so many corners of the hobby that it's worth taking a look, because you're going to find items like this. You're going to find, and we'll cover them later, non-sports and hockey and everything. There's something for everybody, really.
No, absolutely. Agreed. It's the same. So I believe this is the same set out of 100. It's essentially, well, this patch is wicked. I mean, this patch for this Kobe is unreal. Looks like it's 3 colors, 4 color patch. Great picture. Really nice on card auto.
Yeah, so just perfect execution all around. I think the patch color really makes this card limited edition. Like you alluded to, numbered to 100, and everything Kobe. Similar to Jordan, we've spent a lot of time on the greats of the game this episode so far. Never going out of style.
Yeah, the next card that we're going to look at is one that I actually haven't seen before. Jordan collectors probably know it, I would assume, but is this card, let me just pull it up. Was this pack pulled, this card? So this is a 2009-10 Upper Deck Hall of Fame Jordan, game used floor in the original box. That's the thing that kind of threw me off a little bit. So it came in, I'm just trying to understand this one.
Yeah, I don't know. And we might need somebody from the chat to chime in. I don't know if this was a redemption or if this was like a box topper type card. I don't know the nuances of some of these sets off the top of my head, but I was struck by kind of the accoutrements to this card. I thought, anything that you have that, combines the original box and the employee card and all those things are just really cool. And it's highly graded and by all accounts, a tough get for Jordan collectors.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. So this looks like it went to an employee, or that's what it looks like anyway. Great honor and gratitude that we present you with this year's special employee card collectible.
There
Upper
you
Deck brand is synonymous with quality. I mean, it looks like it went to an employee. It does have. I love stuff like this because it's got a story. It's not just a card. So you have basically a piece of the United Center. You've got the card that was with this. You've got the original booklet essentially that it came in, and then you have the card that's been graded out. It's a 9 and it's autographed. Of course, it's got a serial number. This is unreal, man. This is like really sweet. I love stuff like this because it's got a whole story behind it. It's not necessarily just a just a trading card. There's a whole thing going on here.
Yeah, cool piece.
Unbelievable. All right, let's also remember that the folks over at REA, they've got memorabilia, and we have got a Pete Maravich jersey. This is so cool. Going back to the New Orleans / Utah Jazz game used home jersey for Pistol Pete.
Yeah, I mean, I continue to think, I've been saying this for years. I've said it on your show. I've said it on other shows. I've said it to anybody that'll listen to me. But I think memorabilia continues to represent just a tremendous potential in our industry. When you look at what somebody's going to pay for a PSA 10 Maravich rookie card, and you think about this being a jersey that he wore, he played in a game in, and the fractional cost compared to what some of these high end cards go for. I just think it's incredible. This Maravich is in this auction. We've got a Bobby Orr jersey. That's one of the all time hockey greats from the early 70s in this auction. When I see pieces like this, I just can't help but think these belong in museums, and any collector that gets them is going to love them.
Well, what's interesting about something like this too is, the NBA, they auction off modern active players. You can go on, I think it's like NBA.com or whatever, and they take their jersey off and they auction these game used jerseys. And a lot of times they're going for more than like this Pistol Pete jersey. And it's like, what planet are we on where like this jersey isn't selling for a lot more than an active player who is not anywhere near, the same sort of level.
Yeah, no, a lot of opportunity here, I believe.
All right. Our next card, rest in peace to our guy, Ricky Henderson. We've got a BVG Gem Mint 9.5. Okay, so what are your thoughts here, Brian, on BVG? This is a high grade BVG. Have you guys gotten a lot of the BVG versions of this card, or is it kind of uncommon to see it?
I don't know that we've necessarily handled another example of this card. We've certainly handled a bunch of BVG and BGS high grade cards from the 80s. We had a couple from the 70s a couple years ago. You'll see Beckett obviously more and more in the modern realm. But, I look at these cards, I judge them on their individual merits, kind of independent of the holder. And I look at this card and it's well-centered, it's sharp corners. We focus on registration and print quality on some of the cards we talked about earlier. And this ticks all those boxes. So, again, when you look at pricing on PSA 10s, you look at pricing of some of these other grading companies comparatively, represents a bargain probably sometimes.
Absolutely. And the bidding is strong for this card, and the BVG 9.5 already, and we still have 5 days to go. So there you go. Ricky Henderson, one of the greatest players of all time, man. I think that he is really underrated. I love that card. All right. Next up, we're going to go back to the modern. We're going to go with an active player. We're going to switch it up a little bit. You guys you always have some really nice Mahomes stuff. I feel like it comes through in every auction. We always cover some nice national treasures. Here we've got a 2017 Mahomes rookie card. It's the pink prism, and it's in a 10 NBA gold diamond.
Yeah, and Mahomes is one of those guys that has so many different rookie cards. There's so many different ways to collect a lot of these modern players, and I like the look of this card. I like the simplicity of the image. I like the simplicity of the signature, but it doesn't in any way detract from how special and important and ultimately iconic his cards are and will be. So this pink prism, I think, is a great parallel. Obviously, NBA sticker kind of hammers home the fact that it's gem mint all around, and I think his stuff continues to just really excite the hobby.
Yeah. He started slow, but then again, I think his receiving core was either hurt or suspended or whatever, and now they're starting. I know their season is kind of a little bit mid so far, but if the guy retired tomorrow, he's basically done more than 99% of quarterbacks that have entered the league, maybe more than 99%. So, yeah, he's incredible. All right, we're going to shift over. Speaking of incredible football players, now this is a Huggins and Scott special. This is a card I would love to own. 1933 Sport Kings, Jim Thorpe. It's a PSA 6, but man, this is like the nicest PSA 6 of the. Usually when I see these cards, they're pretty beat up. I saw a couple of them at the National, and this one, man, it just pops. The colors on this card.
Yeah, this is a really special example, in my opinion. So this was just recently graded.
Yep.
You can see by the serial number that it's
Yep.
a relatively new grade. This came to Huggins and Scott Raw, submitted for grading, totally fresh, and it pops off your screen. I mean, that is no exaggeration. The background's bold, very bright, well centered. Tough to find these cards in high grade. They're like any 30s gum card. They've got brittle stock. They've got soft corners. This one's really, really strong and very important card of a very important player.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I was just looking at this card and I just stared at it for a while. I mean, this is like the ultimate vintage football card to me. I mean, it's just incredible. Yeah, I can't say enough about this card. If I had, again, this is one of those, if you're the Jeff Bezos, like money doesn't matter. When you look at all the cards in our hobby and you have all these different options, like this is one that just, it stands out. It's just such an incredible one. Especially when I feel like vintage football, it doesn't get the same sort of, love or attention as like vintage baseball does. So when those really nice vintage football cards pop up, like this one too, we've got another one. So this one's interesting. 48 leaf, Sammy Baugh. It's the maroon jersey. So I believe that's a variation, right? And it's signed.
Yeah. And this is another one very recently graded, sent in, raw from a consigner. 48 leaf football, just a great set. I mean, I don't know that you and I have ever talked about it, but I love the design. I love kind of how, revolutionary it was really for football cards of the era. Obviously the Leaf baseball set is one of the most iconic of all time. And I think the football is right up there and maybe doesn't get the praise that it deserves. Very condition sensitive, tough to find in high grade. This one's grading a 3, but it's very, very, very attractive. It's visually strong. It's a little off centered, has a print line across the top, but what counts here is the autograph, and that combination on vintage cards we've just seen lately has caused pricing to explode.
Yeah, the fact that you have an auto 10 as well. I mean, I don't know how many of these he's signed. I doubt it's a lot. But then the fact that you have a 10 autograph is incredible.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, unique item. Speaking of unique items, this is one that popped up that I thought just was really cool. All right, so it is a Super Bowl winning quarterback multi-signed helmet. It includes Tom Brady. I can see Peyton Manning over here. Joe Montana's on this. I mean, this is insane, this thing.
Yeah, whenever I look at a piece like this, I think about how hard it would be to replicate it. And
Right.
This is something that
There's
would
Breeze. Yeah, Brady and Breeze right here.
Yeah, this is something that would be difficult, if not impossible, to replicate. You look at what Brady's signing, charging for signings, what his autograph goes for on the secondary market alone, and then you throw in the couple dozen other signatures on a helmet like this, and the fact that it's only at $1,500 right now, and it'll move. I mean, we're not concerned by it, but this is something that somebody should pay a lot of attention to and consider getting into for man cave display purposes.
It's just you're right. I mean, it's just incredibly unique. You've got Jim Plunkett right here. You got Phil Simms. I can see Kenny Stabler did a giant autograph here on the top of it.
Yeah.
Len Dawson. I mean, there's some incredible autographs. But it's to your point. This might be a one of one, or there's just not that many of them, and there never will be a lot of them.
Yeah.
in a world where we're all collecting things and looking for, hey, what's unique about this? What? And there's Bart Starr right here. I mean,
You've got Staubach, you've got Bob
Bob
Greasy.
Greasy, Staubach, Favre. I mean,
Namath is a huge signature above Greasy. I mean, every name on here
oh yeah,
is incredible, and some of these guys are no longer with us. The opportunity to do this again does not exist.
unreal, unreal. All right, we've got one more item. We are going to go back to an active player who might play for another 100 years. This guy, LeBron James, he doesn't age. This guy.
We cannot get rid of him.
He's never leaving. So
Yeah.
we've got an early. So it's not a rookie, but it is early exquisite LeBron. Just it's got a nice on card auto there, and this is the sort of thing I just feel like these types of cards are just going to age well. This early exquisite stuff.
Yeah, and it goes back to the conversation we were having earlier on the Jordan and the Bryant. You've got the dual, you've got the game used patch component, you've got the on card auto, exquisite, very highly regarded set from the early 2000s. And LeBron, I mean, like Brady, like Mahomes, like a lot of the guys we've talked about in this stream, the appetite for his stuff is there. He's one of the greatest players of all time. You're probably not going to go wrong parking something like this away for a while.
Yeah, good stuff. I think REA always presents those opportunities. Unique cards. They do. There is a lot of high grade vintage. We did cover a lot of really pristine items, but there's also a lot of lower to mid grade stuff too. So we covered kind of a lot of the highlights, but you guys, I do like the fact that you have really good range. And we didn't cover non-sports, but there is also a lot of really cool non-sports you guys always have as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm most proud of about REA is how we've maintained and secured and maintained the reputation for the high end. We've done that very well. We've had countless record-setting sales. We've had 7-figure sales. We've had monumental items come across the auction block, but we still managed to maintain $100 items for collectors, $1,000 items, $2,000 items. So there's really a lot of variety. There's something for everybody. You can find Babe Ruth, you can find Pokemon, you can find presidential stuff. There's just something for everybody. And if you're not a buyer, you'll at least learn something probably going through our auction.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. There's also a lot of cards too you might see, and it might be $100,000 9 grade, and you're like, man, that's a great card. I'm going to get that in a 3. Or you learn, as you said, you just learn about all these different cards, and you end up going for something that's just more that's in that price range.
Yeah,
perfect. All right, so for Sunday night, it's collectrea.com. Make sure that you go to collectrea.com. Tell me again on this, Brian, do people need to have a bid in before we get to kind of Sunday night, or can they jump in on stuff on Sunday night as they're closing?
Yeah, so you can jump in up till 9 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday night at collectrea.com. We always advocate that you bid early and you bid often, but all you need is that one qualifying bid. And then when the clock strikes 9 p.m., you will only be able to bid on items that you've qualified on. You'll only be competing against people that you've qualified against. You'll have an hour to kind of duke it out, and then that countdown timer will begin. So, we encourage people to go get registered. We encourage people to sign up for credit limit increases and stuff early so that you're not up against a deadline. But whether it's at hugginsandscott.com for this Thursday or collectrea.com for this Sunday, you will need to indicate some interest before the deadline to participate.
Awesome stuff. All right, guys, viewers, have fun with these auctions. Are always a blast. Go and check it out. Collectrea.com, hugginsandscott.com. Brian, thank you again for coming on. I'm sure we'll see you next time. It'll be 2026, believe it or not. These years are flying by.
They are, but we'll have more good stuff to talk about.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.